What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Electric Wizard, entitled Time to Die. This is released on Witchfinder Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Wimborne, Dorset, England in the United Kingdom. And the best way to describe the sound of this band would be an extremely sludgy, heavy metal-inspired, occultist, and drug-fueled style of doom metal. Yeah. I would consider Electric Wizard to be one of the poster bands for the stoner doom style of metal. I mean, stoner doom is a very multifaceted sort of genre. In addition to the type of lyrical content, it also is a genre that is very reliant on extremely crushing riffs, lots and lots of feedback, and just an overall euphoric sort of listening experience. And I mean, there are a bunch of bands within the genre that can definitely emulate that sort of vibe. I mean, bands like Church of Misery, Sleep, Bongzilla, Bong Ripper, UFO Mammoth, to even legendary bands that could have possibly lent a hand in pioneering the style. Black Sabbath and Cathedral could come to mind. But when it comes to Electric Wizard, once again, I would consider them to be a poster band for this musical style. I mean, their lyrical themes, their overall musical structuring, it just screams stoner doom. And for almost 20 years now, almost going on 20 plus years now, Electric Wizard are great at what they have been doing. I enjoyed this band's earlier works, pretty much the mid-90s material, stuff like their self-titled and Come My Fanatics. But then in the beginning of the new millennium is when I feel they reached a new peak, or for lack of a better term, a new high, with Dope Throne. I consider Dope Throne to be one of the best doom metal albums of all time. Lyrically, visually, musically, this was the quintessential Electric Wizard record, and I honestly feel that to this very day, this is a record that they have not topped. I still consider Dope Throne to be their body of work masterpiece, and anything else after that has just been really solid to really awesome. I mean, of course, soon after Dope Throne is when things decided to begin to change up just a little bit. A little bit of a revamping of lineups were in the process. Going on later in the 2000s with albums like Let Us Pray and We Live. And then, of course, to the next two after that, which are two albums that I feel are great, but don't get the credit they fully deserve, in my opinion. 2007's Witch Cult Today and 2010's Black Masses. Both incredibly heavy records in their own right, and definitely some of the better material that this band's put out over the course of the later 2000s. But yeah, we move forward to their 8th full-length album entitled Time to Die. There's been a lot of stuff behind the scenes and a lot of other issues that were in the process of getting this album released. Label issues, band member issues, just a lot of back and forth stuff. But I'm not here to quell on the back and forth stuff. I'm here to quell on the actual musical product. This album is the first time since Let Us Pray that they bring back their original drummer Mark Greening. And once I found out that they were incorporating their original drummer back into the lineup, I was interested to see if any of the kind of sounds that were on previous Electric Wizard records was going to make its presence felt here on Time to Die. And we get on to Time to Die. It's 9 tracks, and it clocks in at around 65 minutes in length. And considering that this is going to be a lengthy record, this is something that you really need to make a full-on time and effort to even listen to. You really need to just zone out and really get into the swing of things, because this is going to be a really crazy record once you put it on. And I like how this album starts off with the sound of a water stream, a stream of a waterfall of some kind, and then it leads on into audio clip samples, interviews, sound bites. It's like that. There are certain instances where this album relies on sound bites and old school archival footage. It definitely adds to the overall kind of themes and vibes you would best know Electric Wizard for. And then as soon as that's out of the way, you get into the euphoric madness that is Incense for the Damned. And then the next 8 tracks after that are just so crazy sounding. I mean, the Electric Wizard formula is definitely reliant on extremely crushing riffs, and you're going to get a boatload of heavily down-tuned riffs. I think they sound absolutely marvelous here. I think Juss and Liz Buckingham do really amazing work here with the guitar playing. It's definitely something that will bring you back to the Electric Wizard releases of old. Going on to tracks like I Am Nothing, which I think best utilizes this band's stoner doom style, and especially the powerful riff work that you will be hearing throughout the later majority of the record. And then on to tracks like We Love the Dead and Lucifer's Slaves. I just think the riff work is just so sensational. It steals the show, and it definitely makes for some a lot of head nodding going on. A lot of head nodding and a lot of head banging. You're going to get a great equal opportunity amount of that sort of stuff going on when it comes to Time to Die. The bass tone on here is extremely thick. I love how thick this bass tone sounds. It is very pummeling, especially for this style of doom metal record. You have to have a thick sort of bass tone when it comes to a doom metal record for me, and I think with Time to Die, this bassist definitely shows that, and definitely gives a very, very good balance overall throughout this entire album length. You hear the bass tone perfectly. It's very well played. It just sounds marvelous, and I love how this bass is incorporated throughout this entire record. Moving on to the drums. Once again, I mentioned that they bring back their original drummer, Mark Greening, for the recording of this album. From what I understand, they have another new drummer now, but for the benefit of this album, I will give much respect to Mark Greening here. He does a phenomenal drum performance on this album. Very, very methodical, very patient, but yet once you get right in the midst of songs, it's just so devastating. I love his drumming style. I love his creative fills. It's a very bombastic, old school heavy metal sort of drum performance, and I think he handles himself perfectly here, especially the lengthy tracks, Incense for the Damned and I Am Nothing. He just does marvelous things with the drum work, especially for the songs being so long and so methodical. I definitely think he has a great sense of patience and an overall great delivery when it comes to the drums, the overall sound of the snare, the fills, the kicks, the crash cymbals. I just think he just delivers a very old school style heavy metal drum performance. And moving on to the vocals, of course, one thing you'll be accustomed to when listening to an Electric Wizard record is the vocal style, and I think Just delivers some very awesome vocals. I love the way he sounded on Black Masses and Witch Cult Today, but here he pretty much continues on in the same kind of vein. A very soulful, reverb-drenched sort of vocal style. It's very hypnotic sounding. I really enjoy his emphasis of singing and almost evil sort of growls going on. It's not, you don't hear a lot of growls, but when you do hear them, I think they sound really good. But more often than anything, this album is dominated by his singing and his almost hypnotic sense of crooning. I think it's really amazing. And I also really dig the nuances that they add on here, like the usage of an organ in some instances. Notably, the last track on here, Saturn Dethroned. The usage of the organ on that particular track is just really incredible. I want to say it's Saturn Dethroned, but yeah. they use an organ on this album, and when you do hear the emphasis use of the organ, I think it's really cool, and it once again brings in the overall themes of stoner doom and just overall psychedelic craziness. Electric Wizard know how to do that kind of style justice, and I think this is a really awesome piece of stoner doom metal. So overall, I think Time to Die is a really solid piece of stoner doom from Electric Wizard. If you're a fan of what Electric Wizard have done in the past, I think you will find some great enjoyment listening to this. I don't know where I would put it in my personal view of their discography. I still say Dope Throne is their best, but this is definitely right up there with the previous two, Witch Cult Today and Black Masses. I think I might like this more than Witch Cult Today. I don't know if I like it more than Black Masses, but it's a great Electric Wizard record, and definitely one of the better pieces of doom metal to come out in 2014. So if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Incense for the Damned, I Am Nothing, We Love the Dead, and SadioWitch. So I'll leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album. It is available on CD and 2LP vinyl. Spinefarm Records distributed this CD. Of course, they put it out themselves on their own imprint, Witchfinder Records. So however you're able to get a hold of this album, it's definitely something worth owning. So I'm going to show you the album again. This is Time to Die by Electric Wizard. This is released on Witchfinder Records, Spinefarm Records. Check this out. And I'm going to give this a very solid 8.5 out of 10. The masters of very crazy stoner doom are back at it once again. So support Electric Wizard. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until the next time, Army Ho out.